Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. I am Cedric Bailey, and I tell you what, there's a lot of great things going on in our world. I got my friend, Brother T.Y., Timothy Young, on board with us. Hey, Brother Young, how you doing?
Hey, doing well.
And who's your guest?
Hey, today the guest is Charles Kithcart. He is the founder of the the African Diaspora Maritime LLC out of Baltimore, Maryland.
How you doing, Brother Charles?
Thank you for having me, Cedric. How you doing, Timmy?
You're doing just great.
Great, great. Well, Timmy, you and I were recently talking at homecoming about what's going on. So you're going to take my platform and tell us something that we need to share with our listeners and our audience that are tuned in around the world.
Okay, so we have, as I said, Charles Kithcart is the founder of the African Diaspora Maritime, and he has a wonderful program. And this is something that we want to get across to every ear that will listen. And it's a great story. If you know anything about the Jamaican bobsled team, it's a story that we have that's in the making right now. So at this time, Charles, we're going to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Cedric, Timmy. African Diaspora Maritime is the name of my organization. And it's an America's Cup team that's created to introduce the African American community and the larger diaspora to the world of yacht racing. It's a multi-billion-dollar institution with design and build of boats, maintenance of machinery, making parts. And it's a thing that we don't think that we have anything to do with. In the vernacular, we hear that it's only for rich people, and we don't realize how much wealth we have. So not only are we going to have the team, but we're going to participate in the America's Cup. And on our journey toward the America's Cup, we're going to use some formulas that most of us see and hear about every day, but we don't take advantage of it. As an example, Fubu was making $350 million a year, 8 years in a row, just selling those nice jerseys, hats, t-shirts, FUBU, for us, by us. We actually have a beautiful uniform. We have a team behind it. We have the history of the Black Mariner, and we're going to be teaching the STEM of designing and building a boat. The history of the Black Mariner goes very deep, and I've got some books that you're going to learn about. And if you go to our website, you'll see more. But this book is called Umbala, The Adventures of a Negro Sea Captain. It's an extraordinary read. This book here is Robert Small's Journey to Freedom. Robert Smalls grew up on a plantation in South Carolina. He was a mariner, and he's the one who stole the Planter, which was the Civil War ship, and delivered it to the Union Army. And he later on became one of the first U.S. Black senators during Reconstruction. So these are our heroes. African Diaspora Maritime also had Samuel Gravely, who was the first Black admiral in America, as our chairman. So what we're going to do is we're in the process of posting our commercial with our fashion shoot. And just like the Nigerians did in 2018, they sold 3 million jerseys at $90 a piece in 3.5 minutes online. We probably won't sell that many this time, but once we get enough to buy our boat, which is $2 million, so you can tell we're down in the very low numbers to buy the boat. When we christen it, we'll sell that many jerseys. They're gorgeous. So when you go online to admsailing.com and see it, admsailing.com, you'll see that these are beautiful. And what we're going to do with the extra money is we're going to create an economic miracle within the African American community. We're going to use the extra money to open up craft factories in 5 different cities. So I usually say A, B, C, D, Atlanta, Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit. The last one is Greenwood in Oklahoma, where the original Black Wall Street was. These craft factories are going to be crafts that we can do things and make things. We can train 50 people per factory to make something of a high value and train them how to do it. That's not soul sapping, where you're just stamping something day after day after day, but you're actually learning how to make something. So we're going to get into the first 5 with cold glass sculpting, hot glass blowing, tongue and groove woodworking, which is no screws, no nails. It's Japanese woodworking. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with ceramics in the horological industry with watchmaking. And when we do cloisonne, guilloche, and all the different things that are with the watch industry, we can sell that off and we'll sell out. We have a great idea to do the jazz greats and do that in cloisonne. So if you've got Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Bird Parker on a cloisonne face on a watch, it'll be sold out. And people say, well, who's going to buy it? And we don't realize that the people who marched for George Floyd, that was the biggest march in world history on any subject. So all we have to do is produce something, the world will purchase it, and then we can start to stabilize our communities. The team is going to act like a North Star for our youth and the adults, and we're going to reimagine the idea that we have to read, we have to learn, we have to study, and these are the facts of life. So when we do that, you're going to see us participating in these beautiful uniforms that we have. I have one of the team helmets right there, and I'm here to tell you, if you don't like that logo, something's wrong. I think it's gorgeous. So on our website, we've got simple little stickers that you can put anywhere. We call them bumper stickers, but they can go on computers. They can go on anywhere. They can go on your refrigerator. But really just take a look at this logo and realize that African Diaspora Maritime speaks to you. The diaspora are the people who are of African descent, not in Africa. So North America, Central America, South America, and all the world over, we belong to the African diaspora. And as we start to learn our own history, expand our market share in different industries, the multi-billion-dollar yacht racing industry, the yacht design industry, and we can get into these fields and expand our horizons. And our young people can watch this, and it will act just like a Jamaican bobsled team. So the bobsled team had a movie, we'll get a movie deal as well, and we'll use these resources to help create more businesses. So that's just a brief overview. I had to jump in and cram a lot. Timmy, you got another question to lead me, or do you want me to keep going?
I got something to say. I got several questions.
Go ahead.
You know, I did watch that movie Cool Running. It featured John Candy. Yeah.
Hey, Cedric, can you hold up for a moment?
And that movie was phenomenal, and it was a true story. I'm a sports fan, and we recently, Juan Sanders.
Cedric, you're kind of intermittent here. You're breaking in and out.
So Cedric, okay, Cedric, you kind of broke up a little bit, but I'm going to speak to what you mentioned. First of all, the Jamaican bobsled movie was unusual for a couple of different reasons.
Okay, go right ahead. Go right.
One, you realize that they're going to make a movie about the Jamaicans, even though the Jamaicans were the first time around, because anytime people of African descent do something unusual, it becomes world news. They didn't make the movie about the Swedish bobsled team or the Norwegian or the German or the Finnish. It made it about the Jamaican bobsled team. So by common sense, you know they're going to make a movie about African Diaspora Maritime. Now, we can look at the revenue. So Jamaican bobsled team about 25 years ago made $200 million. Black Panther made $1 billion. So we're going to get around the 500 million and up mark for ADM. And again, this is just revenue that we can use to enhance our own community and invest in ourselves. So while I enjoy being an athlete, I think it's more important that we really understand that we need to be the owners of these teams now. And then as the owner, we generate the revenue and create the opportunities. So we have to all look at what's happening with Jerry Jones and Jerry World down in Dallas. He's got this huge stadium and he went into debt for it. And then anytime there's a big event or a national championship or the college day kickoff, he gets it. And we have to start thinking like that, and we can expand our horizons in business. Cedric or Timmy, ask another question. If we can't hear you, Cedric, we'll keep going.
Okay. I can hear you. Go ahead. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but if you do break up, we'll keep going.
Okay, but I want to say that we watched Deion Sanders take a school like Colorado University. They hugged him on the field because in 1 year he got $28 million coming to that school. Then they had the revenue of the T-shirts, the logo, the marketing. Because of the coach, Jay Norville, talking about his shades. Prime owned those shades. He made $1 million on the shades. So don't tell me that it can't be done.
This is economic reality for us, and there's a new economy and there's also an old economy. The old economy is manufacturing, so we still have to do the manufacturing and nuts and bolts, and then we can get into high-tech manufacturing once we train the workforce. But if we start out with the craft factories, I've identified 50 things, and so we can do them in Atlanta, Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit, plus Greenwood in Oklahoma, and then we can get into semiconductors and medical equipment later on when we get highly skilled. But the money's there, and the Nigerians proved it when they sold those 3 million jerseys at $90 a piece in 3.5 minutes online. So we've already made our commercial. As I say again, I think this logo is beautiful. I think the uniforms are beautiful. And when you go to admsailing.com, you're not only going to just see the flash of the uniforms, the t-shirts, the hats, but you're going to see the history of the Black Mariner in our book list. So I'm going to bring up another book. This is called Blackjacks. And this was written by Jeffrey Bolster. And this is the history of Blacks during the age of sail. And that was the age of discovery when all the clipper ships were out and all the sailboats and big schooners were all over the world. And we were crew, we were captains, we were mates, we were bowmen and bosuns and bowmen and anything else that you can think of. And we were also whalers. Now, we need to know our own history. And as we start to learn our own history, I think our families and our youth will feel a sense of responsibility, of duty to live up to what's already been created. As I mentioned, we already have the first Black admiral was our chairman, Samuel L. Gravely. Well, the Navy named the ship after him. If you go on our website and you see the preview for the movie Rescue Men, Mr. Etheridge, Captain Etheridge, the Coast Guard named the ship after him. So when we start introducing these heroes, we realize that we have already vested into this country. We've already done the hard work. Now we have to do the next step, create economic stability, own the teams that we talk about, and then we'll talk about Deion Sanders. I enjoy what he's doing. It's fun, it's great, it's exciting. But I'm going to tell you something. Every year that we watch a national championship, it looks like our kids from our neighborhood are playing for UCLA, USC, and Georgetown or Kentucky. And the truth is, in the future, those young men are going to go to HBCUs because we're going to fund and upgrade those HBCUs to take the basketball players, and then we can take the television contract. So we won't just have the coach on the field or the defensive back, but you'll have guys like me in a suit that are sitting up in the box that come down and are awarded the trophy because that team and that school won the championship. And that's where we need to be.
Wow, that's incredible. Timmy, what do you have to say on this about what Mr. Charles is telling us about?
Well, the cool thing about it is that we have the ability to, move forward with this. And as we do this, what we're actually doing is uniting Black America. We're uniting the African diaspora all across the world. And as we unite, now just here in America, we're consumers up to $1 trillion. And I heard Dr. George Fraser say this. He said, if we just became a nation, we'd be the 16th largest nation in the world by unifying. And that is what the goal is of the Black Wall Street Private Group, as well as the African Diaspora Maritime, is to bring us together. And like I said, with the vision that we have to unite and to live in peace and to understand we're working together. And as we work together, we're able to build, Greenwood 2.0, as Charles would calls it. And that is something that's really wonderful. But it's the same as building Black Wall Street throughout all our communities. But this is a way that we can begin to, invite others in with us. And Charles had a very important meeting this week. And Charles, will you share what you talked about with NASA?
So I got introduced to NASA when we launched our organization, and I've been in close contact with them, and we are in the process of closing an agreement. And so we had an agreement meeting yesterday and talked everything out. They love ADM because they realize that ADM is going to do two things that are unique. We're going to integrate the team and organization while featuring Black sailors. Then as we teach, we're going to use a little hero called Captain Balti Kids, and it's going to be a young person, 10, 12 years old, that cute age. And they're going to be dressed up like Napoleon, and they'll have a little crew of Black, white, Asian, Hispanic kids. And they're going to be looking for the treasure in the inner harbor. They'll go to Chicago, they'll go to Pittsburgh, they'll go to different places, and we're going to film it like a live action shot. And while they're filming this, the pirates will be trying to hide the treasure from them or keep them from getting the treasure. And we're going to be teaching how to use the compass, the map, the sextant, right? All the maritime equipment, the telescope, and we'll give a little teaching class of how these things were invented, when they were invented, and how to use them. So we're going to create a literate, cognizant young person, and we're going to end these newspaper reports and TV reports that we can't pass the math test, that we have zero proficiency, that our reading scores don't get us into school, and we're going to have to compete with the world community who comes to America to get educated, and then they go back home and make their country better. So we've got to get our kids into the top colleges and into the local schools. And for me, if you say, hey, I'm poor, I didn't get a good education, your victory is going to be going to school part-time, working part-time, and renting a room somewhere. And then you're not going to want to have children out of wedlock because you know that you're on the rise. Most of the cities can't fill the STEM jobs because they don't have enough qualified people. But you can get a STEM certificate and get a $30,000 to $45,000 job. And every time you get another certificate, you're going to bump up $3,000 or $4,000. So we have to know this, learn these things, and then make our neighborhoods workforce ready. And that's going to be the key for us to move forward.
Wow, you said a whole lot, and I tell you what, we just wanted to give some people something to think about, and we'll have to come back and do another segment so we can go into further detail. And Timmy, I want to say thank you for introducing me to Brother Charles. Again, give out the website one more time, and also, do you plan on coming to Tulsa sometime to the Greenwood District?
So two things. First of all, admsailing.com, or you can just Google African Diaspora Maritime. You can scroll past the website and you can see any number of news interviews with me. And as we do this, the answer about Greenwood is that Greenwood is the spiritual home of Black Wall Street, of unification and recycling our dollars. So the relationship with ADM and Greenwood is already built through blood. And we learned that the last time with the disaster that happened, but we won't forget, and we're going to make Greenwood 2.0, and that's my promise to you.
Man, I sure appreciate you sharing that, especially what after happened in Maui, you know, on that and the Hawaiian island. You watch and see what they're going to do when they clean that up, and after they were affected from the fires that occurred a few weeks ago. And so I have a feeling that this is going to be successful there in Greenwood, and we are going to look forward to talking to you on next time, Charles. I thank you so much. Timmy, you get the final say-so and your final comments.
Hey, it's all about unity. God put us together to work together. And as we continue to work in love and to unify, like I said, there's nothing that can hold us back. But the first thing we understand is that we are not our own enemies. We're on the same team. So Cedric, thank you so much. And we appreciate your opportunity to talk with us tonight.
Thank you, Cedric.
No problem. Have a great day and looking forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Have a great
sounds
day.
good. Appreciate it, Fred.
Great job, Timmy.
Hey, thank you.